What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Coffees for Closers. Today, we have a very special show for you guys. We are sitting down with David Gutman. He's had multiple exits, current founder and CEO, but is launching a new project where he's basically questioning the value of college. We're sitting down with one of his current proteges, Anna Prochenko, who is a young entrepreneur and has elected to go the route of entrepreneurship in lieu of going down the college route. And today we're going to be discussing a project that he is launching, a company that he is launching with Anna, from a very bootstrapped company where he's taking it from its infancy to profitability. And we're going to be talking about that journey, his exits, his success, and what he's currently doing. Please welcome David Gutman and Anna Prochenko. Thanks, guys, for jumping on the show.
Thanks for having us.
All right, cool. We're going to dive right into it. I always like to start the show. What's your morning routine, David?
In a perfect day, I want to start with my wife and I will do hour and 20-minute walk, infrared sauna, cold plunge, workout. If I start my day that way, the rest of the day can't miss.
Yeah, that's a great day.
Yeah.
It's a long morning routine. 2.5 hour morning routine.
Yeah, it's probably about 2.5, 3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, so you got to get up at like 4.
I have around 5. Yeah, around 5.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So let's dive into it. So you've had decades of experience building businesses and leading various teams. Do you still believe college is the best path for young entrepreneurs?
It absolutely is not. So I went to Brown undergrad and Wharton for my MBA. In fact, the name of our courses, she came up with the name actually, the anti-MBA, what the Wharton Business School never taught me. But the reality is if I were born today, I'd have been starting businesses in middle school. I don't think I'd have even finished high school, honestly.
Well, I mean, there is a real stigma with that statement. You got to finish high school at least, just because, you know.
So I'll tell you, I got invited.
But you can take a GED. So
yeah, exactly. So I'll tell you, I went to a mastermind. I got invited. I was really flattered. I got invited to a mastermind where I was 30 years older than the next youngest person. So the two youngest kids were 17. There were a couple 17-year-olds, a couple 18-year-olds. There was a 29-year-old was the oldest. And by the way, the 29-year-old works for the 17-year-old who's already running a 7-figure business that he started when he was 15.
What company was that?
It's an AI agent company. So he basically does like AI sales agents. Brilliant kid. Honestly, it's like, and don't get me wrong, I think they learned some stuff from me, but I think I learned as much from them as they learned from me. It was a blast.
Where was that mastermind?
It was in Costa Rica. So it was like a 4 or 5 day weekend in Costa Rica. They rented some mansion and it was a blast.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So tell me about this project that you guys got going on right now.
So the way it all came to be was I worked backwards from the outcome that I wanted, which is I knew I wanted to make, I'm in the twilight of my career. I got another 15, 20 years is kind of what I'm thinking. And so I wanted to spend that in the most interesting and entertaining way I could think of. And so I said, the best thing for me to do is to be invested in 8, 10, maybe 12 companies where I have a board seat, some equity in the business, and I'm mentoring the founders of the business. So I want to do that with people I like, doing things I find interesting. So I'm like, well, what's the best way to do that? And I know that the most important thing in any entrepreneurial venture is the CEO. So I'm like, I need a way to evaluate. So you think about how Y Combinator works or how Shark Tank works. You're making that investment up front. So what I decided to do is that what I really wanted was I wanted 6 months to evaluate each CEO. I'm like, well, how am I going to filter that out? So I said, let me create a course. So we created a 4.5-hour course called the Anti-MBA. And then anyone who finishes that course, I do a coaching call with. I evaluate them and their idea. If I like them and their idea, I invite them into an invitation-only mastermind. 10 people total. That's it. For 6 months, they have to commit to be mentored by me. At the end of that 6 months, I'll invest in no less than 1, no more than 3 of those businesses, $250,000 to $500,000 for a board seat, some equity, and ongoing mentorship. So that's how I want to spend the next 15 to 20 years. And that's why I created the course. So Anna was the daughter of a very close friend of mine. I'm an advisor in his company. Great guy, Ukrainian, moved here, barely spoke English, and now he's a successful entrepreneur. So he's like, hey, my daughter's looking for a summer internship. She's going to go to college in the fall. I needed someone to help me with some of the social media grunt work. I interviewed her. She was super smart. I'm like, sure, why not? 3 weeks into it, she's just crushing it. And I'm thinking, what would be really compelling is if I actually had Anna, if I actually used the course to launch a real business, get it up and running in 30 days, profitable within 90, with someone who's very smart, but no business background whatsoever, just finished high school. What better way to demonstrate the fact that if you have the right raw materials, you could be a successful entrepreneur. I pitched it to Anna. First, I got her dad's permission. Then I pitched it to Anna. She thought I was crazy, but that's how we started on this journey together.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like that. That's a cool journey. So Anna, you just graduated high school, and instead of college, you're launching a company. What do you think made you choose that path instead of college?
I think it stemmed a lot from the environment that I was in and my parents. My dad is an entrepreneur, as David said, so I always had this vision for what I wanted my life to look like in the future. And I quickly realized that if I go to the normal path of going to college and then getting a job and then promoting myself over like in the career ladder, I won't get that same life that I really wanted. And I always knew that I had something in me to become an entrepreneur. I wanted to be an entrepreneur since I was like 7, I think. Yes, I was 7. And there was never a doubt in my mind that I would become one. So it was not an easy decision because obviously my mom really wanted me to go to college. She still wants me to go to college. It's her requirement, get a degree, just get the paper, then you can do whatever you want. But I think overall, it's just a better way for me personally. And I've never been one to conform to the usual route. I always take the path less traveled. So this was kind of like a risky decision that I was just super excited to take. Yeah.
She speaks with conviction, and as a young kid, like I'm impressed with the youngest person to be on the show. And I want my kids to go down the entrepreneurial. I'm stuck because I personally want my kids to go down the entrepreneurial path because I know that's what's going to ultimately like lead to success. I'm in Newport Beach. There's no doctors and lawyers on my street. There just isn't.
Yeah.
You can't buy a $7 million house as a doctor.
Yeah.
So everybody on my street is an entrepreneur. There's nobody, unless they own the practice and a bunch of practices, they're not living in Newport in general, anywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe a condo. And I know some people in Newport, because I'm Egyptian and everyone in my community is a doctor. That's like that's all we knew. Same with Jewish people, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're all doctors. That's the path they started with. And then they started to understand, Jewish people specifically, entrepreneurship was a better route. They understood that in the 70s and 80s. We understood that now because we came in the 80s.
Yep.
So we're like, we're going to be doctors. Now their kids are like, we're going to be entrepreneurs. Dad, you're dumb to be a doctor. You made no money. My dad still works like a dog, 76 years old, still works every single day. But the caveat is like, where I'm stuck is I want them to be entrepreneurs. I'm already having them become young entrepreneurs, and I do that through sports card trading. And I do that through like raising capital for, whatever projects. But I still want them to be highly educated. I still want them, like one of my friend who had a company called Orgain, he exited a couple $1 billion. His dad told him, I don't care what you do, as long as you get your medical degree. Not just college.
Right.
Become a doctor first.
So a lot of school.
That's a lot of school.
Yeah.
And that's like you're out of school at like 26. Now kids are multimillionaires at like 19, 17,
Yeah.
So it's a path, now, and I don't know what the future holds because 6 years down the road, education, college is going to be even more worthless.
Agreed. But you know what it is? Like she made the comment that, the safe route of taking an education. I actually argue it's the opposite. I think it's the less safe route. Like building up your talent stack, having real skills where you can build something like that you can take anywhere, and so I feel like, your gender studies degree, I mean, good luck.
Yeah. Especially people don't know what gender they are.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. And one thing I did, which I'm going to encourage all my kids to do, is I just took a test and exit exam at 16. And then I went to community college, at least finish that.
Right.
And like finish 16 high school, then go to college at, from 16 to 18, you'll be done. I was done with college at 19, all of college. I got my degree, bachelor's degree.
Wow.
So it's possible. You just got to get out of high school early.
Well, think about it too. Like, it was about $250,000, all in for my daughter to go to, middling school. And the reality is, think about how much coaching and mentorship and masterminds and stuff you could purchase for $250,000, the rooms you could get in.
Yeah.
And it's like, that to me is a way better ROI.
Yeah. I'm already taking my 11-year-old to masterminds now.
Smart.
I'm already introducing her to think big. Like,
Well, that's why I'm taking her on this podcast tour. It's like, hey, part of what I
Exactly,
want you to do, not just, because she's also the daughter of one of my very closest friends. It's like, I want her to be as successful as humanly possible. I learned the hard way that I should have built my personal brand 5 years ago. And so I want her to learn from my mistakes. That's what I want all my mentors to do, is learn from my mistakes. And so the business will benefit from it, but she'll benefit from it too. I think to building a personal brand is sort of like the cheat code to life.
Building a personal brand, and I talked to you about this earlier, it's not a cheat code anymore. And it's an absolute necessity for every entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It's a necessity. Just because we all want AI. Everyone wants the AI to help them. But AI has no data without personal brand for people.
Right.
There's data on every other thing, but for people to if it's going to decipher, you need to build your personal brand.
Yeah. People look, AI can hallucinate. I part of the reason I listen to Joe Rogan or whatever, it's like, hey, this guy never intentionally lies to me. People buy from people they like and trust.
Yeah.
You build a personal brand of authenticity, of trustworthiness. You can monetize that in an infinite number of ways. If monetization is your thing, if influence is your thing, again, you can influence the most people by building a personal brand and doing something that you're passionate about.
Yeah. It's been, for both of us, obviously game changing. Now, David, you tore up your MBA diploma publicly, which is so cool.
Yeah.
We're going to show that here on the clip as well. What was the real message behind that moment, and what are you challenging in the current system?
So, as we were talking about off camera, the dirty secret, for people to get Ivy League degrees, go to Stanford, places like that, is, and don't get me wrong, it's not that there's not anything interesting. I took a really interesting class on Chicago politics, when I was at Brown. Interesting, a nice class and all. It's not changing my life in any way. The reality is, in terms of practical knowledge, that I'm able to apply in my life, it wasn't particularly useful. And because everyone benefits from the fact that everybody else is so impressed that they went to those schools, the dirty secret is it didn't really change anything. The reason people like Michael Dell, who dropped out of Harvard, and Zuckerberg, who dropped out of Harvard, they're successful because they were able to get into Harvard, not because Harvard educated them in some way. And so the dirty secret is the people that benefited from that don't want to let the secret out. And I'm like, so that's why I tore it up. It's like, I'm old, I don't have anything to prove. And so it's like, I wanted to, if I put your money where your mouth is, if I'm trying to say, look, I didn't want my kid to go to school, I'm encouraging her not to go to school.
And that was 5 years ago. You don't want your kid to go to school.
7 years ago.
7 years. Now, college is even worthless, even more now.
Even more now. And I was begging her then.
And I would argue, especially if the kids go away for college, that it's actually harmful for children, because they're going to go to college and they're just going to party. They're going to drink. They're going to be exposed to all types of harmful situations for their life and for their livelihood. And it's going to add undue duress on the parent. Like, why did you send your kid to the other side of the country? He's a kid. You expect him not to fall into social temptation?
I remember one time my daughter calls me up because she set her curtains on fire. Literally they're in flames. I'm like, why are you calling me and not the fire department? I don't understand. What the hell am I supposed to do? It's
call
like
the fire department, Dad.
Yeah, call the fire department, exactly, right? I'm like, hang up and call the fire department. Honestly, it's unfathomable that it's such an expensive way. The excuse is, hey, you're going to spend $250,000, but they're going to learn how to be an adult, kind of, sort of, right? Because
teach them to run a business. They'll learn to be an adult like that.
Exactly right. Make payroll. Then have to make payroll for your people. Then you're actually an adult. So I just think that it's again, I understand it's brainwashing, it's societal programming, that's the way it's supposed to be. And the reality is, I think it's a fool's errand.
Yeah, I mean, what's your opinion on that? Anyways, like.
About college?
Yeah.
I think I'm probably at the moment in my life that I will later refer to as the pivot point, because for the past 4 years, I've been working towards a college degree. I took 9 APs. I was really going at
you
it.
have a few more classes and you got your AA.
Exactly. That's what I'm doing right now. That's what I'm doing college, community college, part-time, it's barely anything.
It's so easy.
And it's super easy. It's barely anything. And I'll get it done. And then if I want to, I can transfer. If I don't want to, I don't have to transfer. There's a plethora of opportunities there.
To make your mom happy.
Exactly. No, I have to be careful about what I say on camera because she's going to be watching. So yeah, I will say that I am Yes, I am going to get my degree. But yeah, I think that I was going towards this thing. I couldn't afford college actually. I got accepted into a lot of colleges. I couldn't afford it, so that's why I'm going to community college. And I realized that you know what was I even working towards? Like, why did I want to go to college in the first place? It's kind of like a aha moment. Like, what was I doing? And I was going to college for networking. I thought the only reason to go to college was to meet people that you can network with and like do business later on. And then I realized that while meeting David and just going through his network and meeting the people that he's meeting, I'm going to get so much more
Way more
connections and more networking than any college could give
masterminds,
me.
coming here,
Yeah.
going around to these podcast events. This is where it happens.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, networking is like what you're gonna your college buddy 20 years down the road is gonna be doing what we're doing now.
Exactly.
You even know
Exactly.
him.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you somehow find him on whatever social media is out there, and you're like, oh, I remember that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Anna, you started as an intern for David, and within 3 weeks, you became the CEO of a brand new company. What was going on through your mind when he offered you that role?
I thought he was crazy. And I thought that, but it was a good kind of crazy. And I also thought that, okay, Anna, come on, you wanted to be an entrepreneur since you were 7 years old. Yes, you thought you were going to do it when you were like 21, 22. It's coming a bit early, but it's now or never. So I didn't even have to think about it for too long. I got offered this opportunity. I was like, yeah, I'm going to take it because, well, the risks like the benefits way outweigh the risks in this scenario, especially because I knew David just a little bit. He was friends with my dad. I trusted him. So yeah, it was really a no-brainer, to be honest.
What are the traits that you saw in her that you realized this girl can do something much bigger than what she's doing here?
Yeah, I wouldn't have proposed it. When I first met her, she was sharp. It was funny. We had, my friend had, said, hey, I said, let me talk to your daughter. So I basically said on Monday, review my social media. We'll talk on Friday, and I want to hear your thoughts. She's 15 minutes into a 30-minute monologue about how broken it is and what I need to fix. And halfway through, I'm like, all right, shut up, you're hired. But then we worked together for the next few weeks. And what I saw was she was super creative. She was super curious. She was very disciplined. She was also smart, but honestly, the smart wasn't even the big, that's a nice to have. That's not even a have to have in my experience. But she was also very open-minded, and she took direction really well. The other thing that surprised me was she didn't come to me with every little thing. Like a lot of people that are her age, they'll come to you with every last thing. She tried to solve everything on her own as much as she possibly could before she came to me. And so those really are the raw materials that I think you need to be successful. The other thing was she was having to coordinate with a lot of other people, all of whom are significantly older than her.
Mm-hmm.
And she handled it so well. And she was able to kind of command the respect, even though just by her sheer presence. So it's like she had the raw materials. And I thought, one, she's going to make me look like a genius, right? So it's like I know I have a ringer, but everyone else doesn't know that because I know what to look for. I have a good eye for talent.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my job. I'm a talent scout at my position now. That's what I always look for. That's cool that you're looking for that.
Yeah, and
with
humble
our
too.
business model.
Humble was the other one. Humble.
Humility is important.
Yeah,
humility is definitely important. So, David, what did you? What are both of you trying to prove right now, or maybe disprove with the launch, especially under the banner of the anti-MBA campaign?
I'll go first. Like I said, I believe that I can. In fact, I know I can take an 18-year-old with the right raw materials, and between the course and a little bit of guidance from me, help her be a successful entrepreneur. The goal is going to be. I don't really care about the exit value of the business. Like I think I mentioned before, we don't need to raise capital, but we're going to raise capital just to demonstrate how to raise capital, because I think that's a really important skill to have, especially if you want to build something big and scale. But so we're going to take it. The goal is over the next 18 to 24 months to exit. I don't care how much we exit for. Maybe it'll only be very high 6, low 7 figures. Doesn't really matter. But I want to be able to take it all the way through the life cycle.
Process.
Yeah, because again, most people don't realize that due diligence, the main goal of due diligence is to lower the purchase price. What are all the things you can do to help mitigate those risks and to push back against that? One of the companies that I exited, 8-figure exit, We exited in December of 2008, and every company I knew was getting their exit value, huge haircuts, 25, 35, 50% haircuts in their valuation. And because of how we managed the exit, we got the exact asking price that we wanted. So there's a lot of things that because you can build a company up and exit wrong and destroy so much of the value you spent years building.
Wow. Now, how often does one-on-one media reflect what you believe the future of learning, leadership, and media should look like?
You want to take that one or you want me to?
You mean the company itself, the idea of company?
The one-on-one media.
I mean, I don't know if it's reflecting how learning is going to look like in the future necessarily. I mean, one is a poster
it's
business.
The side effect
It's a side effect of
Yeah.
it. It's the company was started in order to showcase all of the little details of how a regular business will function and some of the challenges that a usual business will go through, right? But then the one, I mean, it's all about motivation. We're doing tech integration. We're doing AI features. It's like the poster is just one thing, but it also becomes a portal into your own self-growth journey. So there's like a lot of different things. It's both novelty, but it's also a simple concept to brute force in the beginning that we chose just because that was the best thing to show the course, like the contents of the course.
I think too that for me, I wanted to demonstrate that the best way to learn is by doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if you're not making mistakes, you're not making enough decisions, right?
I think you said something really profound here, and people really need to hone in on this. The best way to learn is by doing, because everybody just wants to sit there in class and just like receive information. That doesn't do anything for you.
You have to make decisions. And look, one of the big mistakes people make is they have analysis paralysis. They're afraid to make mistakes. One of the things I've been teaching Anna, and I was really proud of her. I remember when we first came up with the logo, or she came up with the logo, she hired a graphic designer. She had him do a logo. She showed me the logo. I could tell by the look on her face she didn't like it, but she's like, the logo isn't going to make the business succeed or fail. And so let's just keep moving. And I was like, wow, like there's people in their 40s and 50s that don't realize that, right? And so again, that's how I knew
this logo doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's how I knew I picked the right quarterback. But ultimately, what I wanted to do is I wanted to show a couple things. One, that you learn by doing, and the second thing was, and I know I always beat this drum pretty hard to the point that Anna probably hates hearing it now. But it's like, I'll take a mediocre idea, really well executed, over an amazing idea executed mediocre any day. And at the end of the day, well, I think the one-of-one posters is a good idea. It wouldn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's about, people always talk about, oh, when Home Depot moves into a new city, all the mom and pop hardware stores go out of business. That's only mostly true. About 80% of them do. The other 20% actually do better, right? Because they're, good luck trying to get someone at Home Depot to help you actually figure out which power tool to buy or whatever it might be. But the mom and pop, hardware store that's run well will actually make more money.
One-of-one. Let's talk about that. Who are your competitors? I feel like you could do that stuff on Amazon or Rite Aid or whatever.
I would have thought so too. Like when I had the idea for the Michael Jordan poster, right? I knew I wanted this quote. I knew I wanted the poster. There was nowhere I could buy it at any price. It wasn't possible. I looked. There's an old company.
Especially a high quality one.
Yeah, and I wanted it, really nicely printed, really nicely framed. And there just wasn't any way to do that. I couldn't even get the poster part done, period. So I had to basically buy the high res image, basically put it in a tool like PowerPoint, superimpose the text, take a screen grab, have it printed high res, then getting it framed. The whole thing took like 2 weeks. It was a huge pain in the ass, and then I started giving them as gifts, and every person I gave it to said, best gift I've ever gotten. And so, because not only that, but it's sitting on their wall in a place of pride, about, either in their office or in their living room or in their bedroom. And every time they look at it, they're thinking about me. And wow, that was a really thoughtful thing Dave did. Who wants something other than that? And, and think about the lifetime value of a customer. The perfect customer is someone like you, who wants to get that Michael Jordan poster really well done, and you want to have it at the office. And then you're like, oh, I really like that. Hey, maybe I'll start giving him as gifts. So you have some for yourself, you have some for the office, you start giving them as presents. Now the lifetime value of a customer is high hundreds, low thousands of dollars over time. That's a really good business.
In my business, the lifetime customer value is 13 to 14 mortgages.
That's a lot of money.
So every mortgage is 6 to 10 grand.
That's beautiful.
So for these guys out here thinking lifetime value, they gotta deliver very nice closing gifts.
Yeah, I bet.
You know, so.
And this would be a great closing gift. In fact, it was funny. I probably shouldn't let the cat out of the bag, but actually, Anna's mom had this great idea that everyone that we're doing these podcasts with, we should give them a one-of-one poster as a thank you for having us on their podcast. So I was talking to Dan yesterday when I was ripping up my diploma, and I was telling him about the fact that I did that Teddy Roosevelt, because he has the whole in the arena events that he does. And I said that I had David Goggins and in the arena, and I had that poster in my office. He's like, no way. He's like, I just hired David Goggins today to do an event.
Yeah.
He's a huge Goggins fan. So guess who's getting an in the arena poster with David Goggins on it, right? What better way to do that, And every time he sees it, he'll think of us.
Dan's the sweetest guy too.
He's a great guy.
He's the true embodiment of a servant. His whole life is just serve. He does not care about money. I'm sure you got like 50 introductions after that.
He's a machine. He's amazing.
So that's just his mindset. He's been an inspiration for me, and a huge help with just building my brand. That's all he's been trying to do, is just help me. So anytime I come across guests or something, I'm like, Dan, here. So,
yeah.
And that's how he knows that God just blesses him like that.
Yeah.
So, so Anna, you've gone from high school grad to company builder in a matter of weeks. What's something you've learned on the job that school never prepared you for?
Everything, because school does not teach you how to become an entrepreneur. School teaches you how to become a good employee, right? It teaches you how to follow directions, teaches you the very technical skills that you need to know in order to do a specific kind of job. So everything that I've learned this summer, I have not learned at school. And even the only overlap that I could really think about is because I was heavily involved in leadership at school, because I was always trying to do something of my own. I hate following directions from people that I don't aspire to. So I always tried to do something of my own. And that was the only place that I was like, okay, so I got some of the soft skills and I brought them here. But nothing else was taught here. I'm learning so much more. I'm learning everything from legal issues, like how to set up an LLC, how to set up what is a C Corp versus S Corp, everything.
Oh, this kid is insane. what she's telling me right now, I wish my kids were here to listen. This is crazy. It's like, I never thought that school just prepares you to be an employee. But she's right out of school, and she's like, yeah, I was just basically preparing myself to go, just be a follower, just be really kind of like a flunky, in my opinion.
100%.
Yeah, I'm just learning here just to take orders. I'm just an order taker. Exactly. And that's an unfortunate reality about our school system.
Not like that, but think about it too. Like, people have this just bizarre illusion that the corporations they work for care about them. It's like, look, I've been, you probably know a little bit of my backstory, but I was misdiagnosed with cancer and told I had 6 months to live when I was 24. And that just pivoted me into being a servant leader. Before that, I really wasn't. I wasn't a bad guy, but I led and I thought about leadership and everything in a very different way. And so for me, it's just such a happier way to travel through life, is find people to invest, pour your heart into those people, and it pays back, in an infinite number of ways.
Now, David, what would you tell other founders or executives about hiring people like Anna, not for where they've been, but for who they are and where they're going?
I think Elon Musk has made this comment a couple times, and it's been my experience too, is I've made the mistake too often that I would hire based on talent, or primarily on talent or specific domain expertise. Now, there are some rare exceptions where that's an absolutely necessary thing. If you're building an AI company and, you need some very specialized knowledge, but for me, it's like, now I hire on humility. I hire based on curiosity, creativity, discipline, and the fact that, and I guess I'd call it heart, for lack of a better way to say it. And when I do that, I've just seen that those people are the ones that are the game changers in the organization. The other thing that I've learned is that you have to learn how to fire fast, because you'll make mistakes. I don't care how good you are at interviewing, how much you do reference checks, won't matter. You'll make some hiring mistakes. One bad hire can, in the same way that a really good hire can help move the needle in a positive way, a bad hire goes the other way. 100%. It's the only thing in my business career that's 100% true. every time I have delayed, I had the thought to fire someone and I delayed it, I regretted it without a single exception in a 35-year career. Actually, about a year and a half ago, I thought I had that one exception, and then actually I ended up having to fire him. So, that's the thing. It's like, look for the right raw materials, and you can teach the skill set.
Couple last questions. Now, where do you both want one-on-one media to go, and what do you hope this conversation inspires in the next generation of builders?
I mean, the one of one, for my personal goals, I want to learn as much as possible from building, scaling it, and then exiting. So one of one is bound to have an exit for sure. We also want to teach how to raise capital and everything like that. This whole journey is kind of like a super transparent, no bullshit journey, and like documented journey where others can learn. Okay, you don't really have to go get an MBA. You don't really have to have a bachelor's in business in order to start a business. Here's what you need to know. Here is exactly what you need to know. And that is kind of what this is going to inspire in the future generations. Hopefully, people are going to realize the value of just a single course or a single mastermind or multiple masterminds over a $250,000 education.
For me, I want the one of one to just be the template, and Anna's journey to be the template that I apply to other entrepreneurs. It's, to me, I wish so much that this was available to me when I was her age. And so honestly, just the idea that I can pour myself into 8, 10, 12 entrepreneurs that where their hearts are really in it, the idea of making all of them millionaires is thrilling to me. So that's the outcome I want. And yeah, I'll make some money as a side effect, but it's not important to me.
Couple last questions before we adjourn here. This is about goals. What's a personal goal you guys can both share? A family goal. You don't have a family yet, but you can also allude to it. And then a business goal, which we kind of tapped into. But
family goal. I mean, look, I just right now the big one. Part of the reason I moved out to Scottsdale. I have an older brother who's about 3.5 years older than me. He's about to turn 63. He's my height, and he was a little bit over 350 pounds when he started his journey. And I mean, he's the nicest guy. And his life is not where it really should be, especially for someone who's just such a wonderful person. So I asked him, hey, if I moved out here, would you work with me? He's already dropped 25 pounds. He's got a long way to go, obviously. But that's my number one goal in a family, is to be able to help him, have the kind of life that I think he deserves. So I would say that's probably my primary family goal. And I would say on the business side, I have a few. I'm finishing my first book. It's a book on servant leadership called "Lead Like You Give a Shit." And then I'm looking to try to do my first TEDx. I really want to do a TEDx about some of the stuff I want to talk about on servant leadership, and obviously what we're doing with one of one and the anti-MBA is super important to me, because again, I feel like back when I was misdiagnosed and thought and I realized I wasn't going to die. I made a conscious decision that I was going to try to affect just the handful of people closest to me, but the internet didn't exist back then. And so now I've expanded that scope, and I'm like, I feel like I can cast a much wider net and have bigger ripple effect. So if I can create a dozen Annas, how much influence and impact those people can have. And so that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah. For me, a personal goal, I really value change. I've moved 14 times in my life. I've come to accept change as it comes. But I also, I only feel successful and satisfied in myself if I am not the same person when I end the year compared to when I started it. So a personal goal would be to continue growing, to continue changing. If I reflect back on the beginning of this journey and I'm like, yeah, I don't even know what I was doing back then. Like, I don't understand. Like, I made so many mistakes. I wouldn't want to do that again. That's what I want to be later on. That's a personal goal. For a business goal, I think, well, obviously, I want to bring one of one to success. I want to have a successful exit, but also because I'm young, because I'm very, very new to business, I want to build a lot of relationships and a lot of network, like a big, good network, so that I can start ideating and start launching my next business before I even exit this one. This is not going to be the end for me. This is only the beginning, and I need to start preparing for the next big thing already.
This is definitely the beginning, sweetheart.
This is 18 years old, like literally, like.
Yeah, she's a beast. I'm excited to see what you do in your life, and I'm gonna have my kids interning for you.
Oh, I
There you
loved
go.
it. I
Yeah.
loved it.
Last question: when you're in front of the pearly gates, what do you think God's gonna tell you?
You know, my life has turned out different, and I was always fairly ambitious in what I wanted to accomplish in my life. My dad started a software company in his late 20s that eventually IPO'd, and so I always had pretty ambitious goals for myself. My life has turned out completely different in every possible way from what I had originally envisioned, and better. You know, if I were to like compare what my original plans were versus how they turned out, and I guess for me, all I want to think about, because someone once asked me the question on a podcast, what would I want my daughter to say about me, at the end of my life? And it was just that I was a good human being. It's really as simple as that. I think that if I can get to the pearly gates, and feel comfortable that, that I really was a good human being, and I touched as many people in a positive way as I possibly could and left them better than I found them, I feel pretty good about the journey.
I feel almost bad asking a young lady that, but it's how the show goes.
I was thinking about it. I was like, what would he say to me? And I mean, obviously, I want to leave a lasting impact on the closest people that I have. I mean, the more people I can reach, the better, obviously. And that is a good answer, I think, in that regards. But I think, personally speaking, he's going to be like, I gave you so many warnings. Why did you step into every single one of them? Like, why did you take all of these risks? And I'll say, well, that's life. And I had a great life and I experienced so many things. So I think he's going to be a little upset with me, but he's going to be like, okay, whatever. Come on in. Yeah, that's what I think.
If people want to connect with you, how do they find you?
So for me, probably my YouTube channel, official David Gutman. My link tree's there, all my socials. You can obviously find me on Instagram. It's Dave R. Gutman as my Instagram handle. And I think that is all my link tree stuff too. But yeah, anyone, if there's any way I can be helpful to people, please reach out. I drive my wife crazy sometimes, but I love being helpful to other people. And if I can be helpful on someone else's journey, I'm happy to do so.
How about you, Anna?
Follow One of One Official on Instagram. It's a very new account. We have 17 followers, and I'm gonna document the whole journey. So this is what you will be following for. It's not like the business page. It's more like, okay, I'm building this business in public. Here's what I'm learning along the way. So if there's anyone who wants to learn how to build a business, and they want to learn from my mistakes, then that's the place to go. One of One Official.
One of One Official. That's where people will go to find your journey.
Yes.
A young 18-year-old entrepreneur going from the very grassroots to an exit. Let's go.
Yes.
God bless you guys. Thank you for being on the show. Check them out, guys. David R. Gutman on Instagram, One of One Official. Make sure to follow. Thanks for tuning in.
Awesome. Thank you.